Today on Falcon Weekly, a Pearl Harbor survivor returns back to Hawaii for the first time. A candidate running for Birmingham mayor dies, plus an update on what's happening at your local box office. All this and more today on Falcon Weekly.
We're not on TV. Hello and welcome to Falcon Weekly. I'm Lauren Nickel.
And I'm Dorothy Sherman.
68 years later, a Pearl Harbor survivor will return to the scene of the attacks for the first time since World War II. 86-year-old Ed Johan, a retired firefighter, will return to Pearl Harbor today to attend a ceremony marking the 68th anniversary of the attacks. Johan was an apprentice seaman ferrying passengers to and from the USS Solace. When the attacks came, he and 2 other soldiers transported victims to the hospital ship. He hopes that this visit will bring him closure. Processional for slain Pelham police officer Philip Davis was held today. Police motorcade transported Davis's body along Highway 31 from Southern Heritage Funeral Home to the church at Brook Hills, pausing briefly in front of the Pelham Police Department. The viewing is tonight from 5 to 8.
A Birmingham woman is seeking $2 million, stating that her husband died from stress of being wrongfully imprisoned. Bob Dole was sentenced to 10 years after his ex-wife accused him of abusing his 2 daughters. The case was thrown out 2 years later by an appeals after the girls had accused another man of sexual abuse. If won, the settlement will be the largest ever for wrongful imprisonment. Birmingham mayoral candidate Ernie Dunn died 5 days before the election. Dunn was found at his home in Hoover Thursday night by a neighbor walking by. The neighbor found Dunn's door opened and his body laying on the floor. Dunn had a history of health problems, which authorities believe resulted into his death. His body was taken to Rocco's Funeral Home in Montevallo. Coming up, we'll see what Twilly's tweeting about for the holidays.
Now let's take it to Twilly Cottingham in the newsroom for our holiday highlights.
December 13th, the Montevallo Main Street Players will be hosting the Sounds of the Season at Montevallo High School. They will be joining the Montevallo Community Corps and Community Band as they perform plays and songs of the holidays while collecting donations for family in need. The organization is asking for toy and cash donations, and this will benefit the Shelby Emergency Assistance Project Christmas. The event starts at 3 o'clock. Last weekend, Alabaster held its annual Christmas parade. This year, Cub Scout Pack 220 added a little twist to this year's parade. Instead of just throwing candy to the crowd, they also collected canned goods from spectators. All food collected was donated to the Salvation Army. If you're among the many people who haven't finished their holiday shopping this year, here at Falcon Weekly, we would like to offer you a few holiday shopping tips. Set a budget, use coupons, make homemade gifts such as goodies or ornaments, get gift cards. When shopping, leave kids at home, and lastly, keep all receipts and read the return policy. Up next, we'll take a look at your weekly forecast with the Lane Man and see what's happening in sports after the break.
Today in Montevallo with light showers throughout the day with a high of 50 degrees and a low of 45. That chilly rain will continue in tomorrow with heavy rainstorms with high in the low 60s and lows in the high 50s. The rest of the week has highs and lows going up and down with a high of 65 on Wednesday and a low of 29 on Thursday. It will remain chilly through the weekend, so bundle up if you're heading out.
Last Saturday, Florida became Bama bait as Alabama rolled over Florida, winning the game 32-13, making Florida's famous quarterback Tim Tebow cry. Now Alabama is on the road heading to Pasadena, California to fight University of Texas for the national championship.
Well, it will be raining roses this year. The #1 Alabama Crimson Tide faces the #2 Texas Longhorns for the BCS championship game. This marks the first time 2 undefeated teams have squared off in the BCS championship game since Texas beat USC in 2005. The game will air January 7th, 2010. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. Coming up after the break, weekend box office hits and a robber is running late. Stay tuned.
Twilight's #1 status came to an end this weekend as The Blind Side pushed to the top spot just 3 weeks after both films opened. The underdog story starring Sandra Bullock trumped New Moon's $15.7 million earnings with a whopping $20.4 million box office take. The yet-to-be-released movie Avatar is already breaking box office records. Fox's animated film is set to be the most costly film of all time, beating out films like Titanic and Pirates of the Caribbean, which currently hold the record. Co-chairman and CEO of Fox Filmed Entertainment, James Giannopoulos, says it's worth the extra investment a film like this takes. But in the next few weeks, Fox will see if the extra millions are worth it.
Well, customers aren't the only ones rushing to the bank before it closes. A bank robber in Wisconsin got to the bank just 6 minutes after they had closed. He entered through the first set of unlocked doors and left before the police arrived. Well, for Twilly Cottingham and Elena Mann, I'm Dorothy Sherman.
And I'm Lauren Nickel. Be safe and happy holidays.
Yeah.